Nothing allowed now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's always it.
Happy Halloween, my friends, and thanks for joining me once again. It is the 31st day of Spooktober. It's Halloween, so please remember to be careful out there and keep your pets inside. And what do we do on Halloween? We dress up, we put on costumes, we cosplay, or in the case of this stuff, we make a Dungeons & Dragons 1980s cartoon cover band, because the more I see the art and the stats, the more I am convinced that they are still not the kids from the cartoon, but a bunch of people cosplaying as the kids. Like the kids either died or they went home or they had so many famous adventures that a new generation came up and made a tribute band where they dress up like the kids, because the art doesn't look anything like them. And now we have the stats of the character record sheets and the magic items, which even go further to convince me they are not, in fact, the kids from the show. I don't care what anybody else says. For one thing, where's Uni? Anyways, let's take a look. These are available in the quote-unquote free download of Scions of Evil on D&D Beyond, the Return to Temple of Elemental Evil free adventure that is available on D&D Beyond right now for anybody who wants to log on to D&D Beyond and painstakingly copy and paste each of the individual sections, because that's the only way to really play it, unless you actually have D&D Beyond with you and want to spend all that time going through each individual section back and forth to find the information that you need. Why isn't this in the DM's guide? I don't know. They decided to give us 30 pages of kind of information on Greyhawk instead. So let's check out the stats of the characters and the magic items. Well, they don't really give us the full stats. They give us a rundown. Bobby, Barbarian, 4th level, Path of the Berserker. Now we're assuming, is this grown-up Barbarian Bobby? We're assuming that 8-year-old Barbie is now 18-year-old Bobby and still hasn't progressed beyond 4th level. That seems slightly underpowered, considering how much shit they went through alone on their, So Bobby, 4th level adventurer. No mention of Uni in the characters sheets. No mention of Uni in the breakdown. I'm assuming Uni either just abandoned them, or they ate Uni, or Uni died. I don't know. And I still find it interesting that a unicorn linked itself to Bobby. Because statistically unicorns only hang out with virgin females, unless of course Bobby was trans. Then we have Diana, who's a 4th level monk warrior of the open hand, because the acrobat class is gone. Let's face it, Diana was a monk. She was always a monk. She never did anything thiefy. She did splits and kicks and jumps and had a quarterstaff. So she was a monk. I don't know why they had to make her an acrobat. They could have just said she was a monk. 4th level, I mean, she was already, 16? It's been 80s, 90s, 20, 30 years. I think these have all be higher level than 4th. Eric, he was a 4th level fighter champion. Remember, he used to be a cavalier, though he never ever did anything within the framework of the cavalier class. He was a, evil coward. But I guess now he's just a 4th level fighter. Considering he never did anything, sure, he restains 4th level. We've got Hank, the 4th level ranger, who's a hunter, because he's a ranger because he got a bow, right? That makes him a ranger. And I don't remember him ever doing anything really ranger-ish, but sure. He's, it's been 20 years. If he's still 4th level, it just seems like they'd be higher. Nico, the cleric with the life domain, since I don't remember Nico, although people swear to me that she's in the cartoon. Sure, she's a 4th level cleric of the life domain. Presto was a 4th level wizard evoker, considering that Presto's whole thing was he was supposed to be incompetent and he was slowly getting better at it. I would think by now he'd be higher level. I also think Presto was a sorcerer, not a wizard. And finally, Sheila, the rogue, who's a 4th level thief. Remember, they said she was a thief because she had a cloak of invincibility. They were all defined by the items that they gave them. Presto was a sorcerer because of the hat and his general interest in magic, you know. Did Sheila ever pick locks, pick pockets, steal anything thiefy, or did she just disappear? I don't know. Let's see what the magic items say, because that would tell us how close they are to the cartoon. All right, Bobby's Great Club. It increases his strength to 20. It does a plus 1d8 thunder damage to creatures or plus 3d8 thunder damage to unattended objects. You can create a sound wave within 300 feet of thunder, DC 15 or knocked prone. You can create an earthquake. Structures take 50 points of damage. Creatures must make a DC 20 dex save for being knocked prone. Can also create a 30-foot deep, 10-foot wide fissure. Okay, that's on par. That sounds about right. Diana's Quarterstaff of the Acrobat. Plus 2 to attack and damage. Sure. Emits light. I don't remember that, but okay. Can change from 6-inch to 10-foot pole or quarterstaff. Yep. Advantage on acrobatics. Yep. Plus 5 to armor class bonus once per rest as a reaction to one attack. Can be thrown and then return to her attack. I don't remember her throwing it, but okay. Yeah, actually, I do remember her throwing it. The one-shot bonus to armor class per rest. I guess that's supposed to be like her spinning it around really quick to... Well, it's done through a cocaine haze. Well, I don't think a lot of people are watching in the 80s cocaine, more like breakfast cereal. Now maybe they're watching it, you know, stoned, but back then. Eric's Shield, plus 2 bonus to armor class. Addition to the shield, it does it's a 2d6 plus 2 bashing attack and can push creatures back 10 feet. Once per rest, it can create a 5-foot force field for concentration. Complete protection from pretty much everything. Hank's Energy Bow. It's plus 1 to hit and damage. Deals force damage instead of normal arrow damage. Arrows emit a 20-foot bright radius. Range attacks to restrain. DC 15 strength. Save or restrain for 1 minute. Arrows can teleport to a willing target to a space within 10 feet of you. So you grab the arrow and it teleports you. And Flurry of Arrows makes a 60-foot ladder up a wall for 1 minute. Sounds about right. Nico's Mace. Cast Summon Celestial. 6 charges. Regains 1d6 charges at dawn. Since I don't remember Nico, even though I've been told she was in the cartoon, sure, her mace lets her summon a Celestial. That probably got her out of a lot of problems. I don't want to deal with this, and I can do this 6 times a day. Hey, Celestial, resolve this for me. Oh, thanks. Presto's Hat. It's his focused. Can cast any spell you don't know. And if you fail the check, a random effect happens. Presto's staff was always like a robe of useful items, right? He would reach in and pull out a rope. He would reach in and pull out a windmill. He would reach in and pull out sparkly dust. It was usually nothing very useful, and he had to try and find a use for it. And then at the very end, it would be like the one MacGuffin that would get them out of trouble, like when they really, really needed it. And then they were like, oh, that's why it pulled out a soccer ball, because we can use the soccer ball to hit that button over there. Yeah. So I don't know, man. That one feels way off. I mean, I would say it's, you know, the random table from Sorcerer Chaos, or you add some of the stuff in from the Robe of Useful Items or something like that. I mean, I guess it's just you reach in and you pull out a spell. And then you say, if it's a spell, and it's got to be a spell you don't know. So you reach in and you go, rope trick. And then if it's successful, you get the rope. And if it's not successful, you get a random effect. I don't know if there's a random effect in the book or not. If not, there's plenty of random effect tables available. And finally, the Cloak of Invisibility. She can become invisible for 1 hour, 3 charges, regains 1d3 charges at dawn. I would make that 4 charges. And then regains 1d4 dawn. And, you know, she would put it on, she'd be invisible, then she'd take it off, and then she'd put it on again. It would make the noise. She'd be invisible. Other than that, she really didn't do anything, did she? I don't remember her ever picking locks. I mean, I need to watch the cartoon again, I guess, because I don't remember her being a thief other than disappearing. You know, did she ever sneak ahead? Did she ever disarm a trap? Did she ever pick a lock? Does anybody remember? I don't, but I don't know. I guess it's all become fuzzy, you know, the memory of the cartoon, right? If you haven't gone back and watched it again. Actually, the magic items seem stock on. They feel like what I remember the magic items to feel like. I think the classes are wrong and the levels are definitely wrong, unless, of course, it's my theory is correct. You know, they're not the kids from the cartoon. The cartoon ended as the writer intended. Some stayed behind, some went home. Everybody grew up and moved on or died, and now we have adventurers who are cosplaying, tributing to the adventurers from the past who saved the world. So they dress up like them, and they have items. They either have the same items or similar items. Because if you look at the art, they look nothing like the kids from the show. And if you look at the character sheets, they would all be way higher level than 4th. So continuing my theory that those are not the kids from the show. I don't think they ever were the kids from the show. Even though Wizards now says they were for the kids from the show. I don't think they are. But what do I know? I mean, I think there's somebody cosplaying. They're kids from the show tribute band. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Up to you. Do you think they're the kids for the show? Does it matter at this point in time? Is anybody going to download Scions of Elemental Evil and then try and painstakingly go through it to make it actually playable? Will they make it available in the future, some other format? Now that we see the character record sheets, do we need to download it? Mind you, this information for the sheets for the kids have been floating around for years. I don't know. It just seems more of the same from Wizards, but that's what to expect because that's so Wizards!
Laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. Bad